there are a lot of pilots that I know at the airline and in business aviation whose spouses work and who have spouses that don't work. And that is when they have kids, and a lot of them even when they don't have kids anymore. There's stay-at-home wives and things like that. My spouse works, Dylan's does, and it's not without complication, of course, right? Because when you don't have a job, you're ultimately flexible, and being, like you said, a pilot spouse requires a lot of flexibility a lot of times because the schedule, airline or business aviation is a lot of times is very difficult to control. Sex, seniority, and salary in that order.
Rock on. You're on 121.5, the emergency frequency.
It's a show by professional pilots for professional pilots.
I looked back at them and I said, I don't think we're at the right airport. And they go, I don't think we are either.
Each episode, we bring you fascinating conversations with industry experts.
I think I should be a go-to on how to deal with 63, 64-year-old men.
You're going to chase it like a dog chasing a school bus.
But we're not just about the serious stuff. We're here to have fun.
Currently on an overnight in Orlando, and this is by far hell. This is the worst place on earth.
It's a whole thing.
The 21.5 Professional Pilots Podcast is your destination for everything aviation, whether you're cruising in the flight levels or just starting your journey. We're back. It's another episode of the 21.5 Show, a show by professional pilots for professional pilots. You're joined by Late Night Max tonight. What are we going to get out of you?
I'm feeling good. I'm feeling good.
You seem like you got a lot of spirit right now, a lot of chutzpah.
Yeah, I'm chipper. I had a good day.
Okay, good. Well, I think we're going to hear about it in a little bit, so I'm looking forward to that. Welcome to the program. If you are new here, hello, my name is Dylan. I'm a maybe I'm Late Night Dylan. This is the problem. It's not good. My name is Dylan. I am a professional pilot in business aviation on the mighty Challenger 350.
Yeah, mighty indeed. I am Max. I fly the airliners as well as the business jet and some smaller planes and model airplanes occasionally even.
Good for you. Good for you.
Good for you.
First of all, we need to make a few corrections. So if you remember correctly, last episode, or maybe it was a couple episodes ago, we were talking about new airports in the United States, and we had done a Google search, and we talked about ECP. Well, we got a few messages from listeners, and they're like, yeah, that was wrong. And we figured it was wrong because we were kind of doing it off the cuff. So I've got some information on the actual newest airports in the United States.
Oh, please.
So the newest Gallatin County Regional, located in Spartan, Kentucky. What year do you think that opened?
Dude, I don't know.
2023, so pretty recently. And then the newest one where you can book airline service, Williston Basin International, opened in 2019.
In Wyoming?
I believe
or is that no,
is
Williston, South Dakota, right?
I believe that's actually North Dakota.
Nodak.
Yeah. And that was from all the fracking that was going on there. I think they had to increase commercial traffic. So, as usual, we stand corrected.
What's the newest one in Arizona?
Do you know? I don't know the one you landed on in a parking lot the other day.
No, that one by the Grand Canyon, Grand Canyon West. That's got to be the newest airport, right?
Grand Canyon West.
I don't know that one for all the tour operators they built on the Indian reservation with the big skywalk. It's a very new airport. I'm sure you're on it.
Could be, yeah. That's actually
sticking our feet in our mouth again, but
I know. Here we are. Now we're going to do some last minute Googling, and we're going to be wrong. Then somebody's going to write in, and then we're going to.
I know. We act like the show's live, like we can just pause it and find the real answer, but
there's no way
to
get
roll.
This.
We got momentum. Let's keep going. Let's keep it going.
Go to bed soon. It's late night.
Yeah. My wife's going to give me the eye. I'm like, when are you done?
I know. So you're recording in your bedroom. She's going to be like, I need you to go. Oh,
I
we'll
had a
we'll get
reminder.
to,
This is
we've got pilot
all
wife
video.
stuff coming up here later in the episode for you to look forward
Oh.
to. So we've got lots to
maybe
cover.
she'd be happy to come in and.
I know. That's what I'm going to say. If she wants to
some
show
things
the
off her
mic here
chest.
a little bit. One other correction I've got to say, I should say one more thing I've got to correct from the other episode was the latest touchdown point calculation. Do you remember that email?
Mm-hmm.
And did you see the follow-up email we got from the flight safety instructor that you know?
Yeah. Well, no, I just saw the one right after we had recorded or that aired. Why would
and
enlighten
he
me?
actually sent a little bit more information on that flight safety guide. But essentially, if you remember, we did some math, and I'm going to make a separate video about this so we can talk about it. But in the episode, you basically had calculated that latest touchdown point, and you use your adjusted landing distance. And I thought you added 1,000 feet to your adjusted landing distance, but you actually subtract 1,000 feet from your adjusted landing distance because from what I understand, the adjusted landing distance includes that air distance of that 1,000 feet, right? And so I misread the formula. So essentially, you're taking that air distance out, and then you're just tacking that onto the runway, which is the actual like stopping distance. So I know that's confusing. It's hard to convey in a podcast. You're going to start to see it when you go to training at Flight Safety and CAE. And I'm going to try and make a video that we can post now that I know the correct way to do it. And then you can see sort of the math and everything and how to do it on ForeFlight and get the distances. So anyways, those are the corrections to get out of the way. So new listeners are going, why am I even listening to a podcast when they just keep sticking their foot in their mouth all the time? But I promise we actually have some interesting content to get to today. So Max, you want to tell us your latest Cub adventures?
Sure. Yeah. So last week, I guess it was, I had to do an oil change. This thing requires an oil change every 25 hours. It's really obnoxious, but it only holds 4 quarts. Yeah, it only holds 4 quarts because it's ultra light, oil pan, yada, yada, yada. So it doesn't have a lot of volume, so it requires oil changes every 25 hours, but it's easy to do. So I went to the airport. Usually I go fly and then, drop the oil when it's hot and take a little sample and mail it off and do all the thing. But, and then, so I ran out of time when I came back. And so I had to put the Cali on and I'm like, well, I'm here, I'm going to go fly, but it's just by myself. I didn't really have any reason to go anywhere in particular. So I just took off and went over Lake Pleasant, which is like the northwest area of Phoenix. And it was midweek, so there was a couple of fishermen on the lake, but nobody. So I'm just ripping around the shoreline over the lake real low. I had some EDM going in my headset, not talking to anybody, obviously, just jamming out, just having a good old time. And flew up over the north end and kind of was like over the hills and just, doing what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Fly low and check stuff out. And so I came back and there's this like parking area where we've parked side by side, like when we go on this ride, there's this kind of this big dirt. It's not that big, but it's a dirt parking area that I'm familiar with. And I'm like, I'm going to go fly over that. I'm like, I know that's on BLM land, which means that you can land there with really not any trouble. Anybody getting upset. So I flew over it and there was like a couple of people camped by it.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, oh, I'll just kind of set up for an approach and see what it looks like. And I kind of roll down and final. I'm like, oh, it looks pretty good. But a lot of times with these things, they look pretty good. And then once you get really low, they can be like real nasty or real rutted out, or I don't know, just a lot of, or have stuff you just couldn't see. So I was kind of like weaving a little bit so I wouldn't overfly anybody that was camping, and I got down. I'm like, real close. I'm like, this looks actually pretty good. So I set it down and I land. It's just this vivid image in my mind of me rolling out and this guy's camped kind of off to the side. He's not super close, but he's standing out there, no shirt on, in his cup of coffee. And I just kind of plopped down and rolled by, looking over him. He just had this look on his face and did like the slow head turn as I went by.
What?
And I thought about getting out. And I'm like, dude, if I get out, like, I'm going to be stuck here
forever.
45 minutes trying to talk to these. And there's a couple other people who come out to see what the commotion was all about. So I just kind of turned around and blasted back off again. And,
you know what would have been the best?
I don't know why.
You
was
know what
funny.
you should have done, and a lot of our younger listeners are not going to get this reference, but it would have been really funny if you would have just opened your window real quick and been like, "Pardon me, but do you have any Grey Poupon?" That would have been. You got to
That's
do
pretty
that. You
funny.
got to do that sometime. Next time you drop in on some unsuspecting people, just be like,
I think that's the first time I've ever dropped in on some unsuspecting people. It was pretty funny though. It just like the look on this guy's face as he just like slow rolled past.
"What's up, guys?"
I just can't imagine what he said. Hey, honey,
Oh,
come out here. You got to see
plane.
this.
What? What plane? Oh,
Some
I
idiot.
swear it
I
was
think
right
he
here.
had an engine failure.
Maybe he's changing his oil.
so
I
yeah.
can see it's one of those Cubs. Oh, that's pretty good.
So that was funny. Yeah.
I love it.
And then I took my son out today, and he has school. There's this the Barrett Jackson car auction is like right across the street from his that comes to Scottsdale every year. It's a huge thing, and it's like right across the street from his school, and so the traffic it makes it impossible. So his school is out for the whole week.
Oh,
So he's out when like nobody else out, but it's cool. He just hung out. And we went flying and hit some backcountry airstrips, and then he wanted to go shoot guns, so we went to one and. He got to shoot his first AR-15. He's very happy about that.
wow.
So it's a good time.
There's a lot going on.
Yeah,
there's
a lot going on.
I took my son flying too. It was really fun in the 150. Just very, very moderate climb the entire way.
The blistering performance.
It's just a solid 400 feet a minute. We just
wintertime performance of that 100 horsepower engine with 799 hours.
That's it. But old reliable, baby. It's great. And you know what?
Oh yeah.
For a piston, that airplane starts every single time on the first twist.
It's a lawnmower engine.
I know,
man.
It's spectacular. So you bite your tongue when you're talking about that thing. It's magnificent.
You shut your mouth when I'm talking to you.
So got some Instagram messages we got that I'd like to share. I was engaging on the gram. I have some breaking news. I know, I like it. Every once in a while, you pop in on the Instagram. You don't really answer too many emails, but every once in a while, you'll come in hot.
Catch me in a moment.
Tomorrow, I'd like to announce we're recording this on January 21st. Tomorrow is the inaugural JSX ATR flight into Scottsdale, Max.
Oh, I can't wait. I hope it has VNAV.
Well,
I hope there's a little more thought to the vertical planning. It's got to be quieter than those old clapped out.
We'll find out tomorrow.
ERJs.
It's scheduled to arrive. It's scheduled to land at 5:40 p.m. So if you could maybe get in your backyard about 5:30 on your new pickleball court, you could stand out there and just sort of wait for just to observe. We got an email or we got an Instagram message from these guys, and the JSX pilots are aware of your thoughts about
my displeasure
with their approaches. So
the power that they're carrying in on the descent.
Exactly. Yep. So they put it into the group chat. So I'm kind of worried. I have a feeling you're going to be
enter the chat.
Yeah. I have a feeling people are going to be fully configured at 80% thrust right over your house here pretty soon.
And now you told them exactly how to identify my house from the air.
Yep.
Thank you for that. That's perfect.
Yeah. So good. So
terrific.
Thanks to M for sending us those messages. That was good. I got a great chuckle out of that this morning. Should be exciting. But I'm excited to see this ATR zoom in tomorrow. Be a big. It's going
to be just like the Martin Mars. The anticipation's
stunning,
killing it.
Yeah, exactly. Any other musings to get to?
No, not really. I'm all mused out, man.
No.
That's all I got.
It's good.
I'm on vacation. I'm not flying at all because we're going big trip.
Oh, should we talk about... You know what? Let's talk about this for a minute. So we're going on a big trip, an international trip, and I'm going to tell you a couple things that I think are really going to surprise you. We are going to Japan, and this is the first time I will have ever been on a 777 or a 787. I have
really? That is adorable, Dylan.
I have if I look at the big airplanes I've flown on, I have flown on so few big airplanes. It's really surprising. I guess I just don't fly international enough, and everything out of here, like Caribbean and stuff, you never get on anything big. So I'm excited. I know. Should be. I think I'd fly on a maybe a 787 going and a 777 going back. So I could knock those both off the box. When you were an intern at American, did you jump seat on like every single airplane as an intern?
I can't remember if I checked them all off, but I did go fly around aimlessly, like to go fly in the A300. I flew on the A300, I remember. And but it only flew from like New York to Orlando or some weird. I can't remember if I checked all the boxes. I don't remember. That was a thing. I just don't remember if I did that.
I remember the interns, because I, at the time, was flying the Saab 340, which we'll get to in an email in a little bit. But the interns would always come and be like, this is the last one I have to check off my box, because we were like just in LA.
Going on the Abilene turn?
Exactly. They're like, I saved this one for last. I'm like, well, the jump seat was like a lawn chair. It was horrifying. So it's like, good thing we're only in the air for 15 minutes. Oh, man. Last thing. So, as you know, my younger son is getting really into skateboarding, and so we watch skateboard videos on YouTube or whatever. But I remember there was this skateboard movie called Gleaming the Cube. Have you ever heard of this movie? It's an 80s movie starring a 16-year-old Christian Slater. So I'm like, let's just watch a couple minutes of this. And I told my son, who loves Top Gun, I'm like, it's Iceman, like a really young Iceman. So, okay. So we turn it on. The beginning of the movie, it's of course the like 80s classic, like 80s movie theme song, Gleaming the Cube. And it starts at the John Wayne Airport. I'm going to have a link in the show notes because you need to watch about the first 3 minutes of this video. It is spectacular. I'm going to send you, actually, hold on. I'm going to see if I can just show this to you. These little skateboard kid punks. But watch this intro. It's just magnificent.
The statue of John Wayne out front. Where'd that go?
Well, they're just skateboarding through random airplanes everywhere. Like doing
on the taxiway.
There's an MD-80 that's going to take off here in a second. Like, it's just magnificent.
They're just shredding it down Bravo. I love that. The funny part is you can't tell the difference with the light airplanes.
Guys are like going under wings. Who approved this?
That's incredible. Ollie. Wow. Well, that's a good find. Did you watch the whole movie?
This is as far as we made it.
You got to post a link to that.
Yeah.
You guys got to check this out.
Isn't that unbelievable? So the first few minutes of Gleaming the Cube, just magnificent. These skateboarders just weaving in and out apparently on the John Wayne one of the taxiways, airplanes everywhere, just dodging aircraft, skateboarding under wings. It's pretty good. I'll post a link in the show notes. It's really about the first 2 minutes and 20 seconds of the show.
It's awesome.
So I thought you'd enjoy that. I was mesmerized when I saw that.
I also wanted to show you something. So I'm going to try and do this on the camera. So this looks pretty familiar, right?
Yes.
Okay. I'm showing Dylan a typical taxi chart, right? And that's the chart. Now, this is the AMM.
Oh.
Okay, so you look at this.
Oh, wow.
And then watch this. And see as you go in, see how you get like all the detail of everywhere. And you can see you can put all the traffic on it. And so as for those of you that don't know, that our airline pilots that have Jepp FD know the AMM taxi chart that's like super detailed. As you zoom in, and then instead of just the old chart, but you can select what gate you're going to park at, the whole thing, and it highlights it and everything. It's something else. So that's what I was trying to explain to you last time.
That is awesome. And is that for basically every airport that you would have service at, or is it just
big
the biggest
airports? No, not but almost all of them.
For example, El Paso, would you have it? Really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything, unless it's I can't even think of one off the top of my head that doesn't have it. But
wow. That's
I don't know why that hasn't come to general aviation business.
Well, did you see in the news recently this whole ForeFlight layoff thing?
Oh,
where they've private equity
strikes
again, and apparently laid off a big group of folks. Some numbers disputed in the aviation media on how many. Be curious to see what happens there with Jepp and ForeFlight. I mean, have you used to use Garmin Pilot, right? There's some cool features about Garmin Pilot. ForeFlight kind of has the lead, I think, right now, but I'll be curious to see how things emerge there. Hopefully, they continue to innovate because it's sure a great program right now. I sure like using it. One other thing that just launched, some other software we're not paid to talk about, but we both use, which is Airplane Manager. Did you see they have turn on the AI for it now?
Yeah, I saw some like email. To be frank, I didn't
even know it. I was in there today and I was like, what is this? It's actually pretty cool though. It goes in, and if you put all your flight logs and stuff in there, you can go in and be like, how much fuel do we average burning, between these two airports? And it like does everything, and it'll be like, oh, you're averaging this, and like, there's some useful information you could glean out of it, or what's the average flight time between 2 points, or just
that's
screwed around with it for
just
a little
aggregate
bit.
data.
Yeah,
faster.
it's got all the data in there, so now it can just access it. Now, is it correct? Who knows? But I have to check it. But
which you could have just exported your flight log and uploaded it to one of the other AIs, and asked
which
the
is
same thing.
what we had talked about on the show before.
Yeah, so it's just aggregating the data.
An API into one of them. But yeah, it's kind of
cool though.
It's pretty good. Like I asked it like a specific name. I'm like, how many miles did this passenger fly last year? And it gave me an answer. I don't know if it was correct, but it's the future's coming. Pretty cool. All right. Well, I think that's going to get us going on the musings, unless you've got anything else.
I don't think so, man. Mused out.
Reviews and comments are next. A couple of new reviews and some YouTube action. First review says, long-winded, interesting guests, but I could do with all the musings. And that's from Anonymous. Anonymous, actually. Very clever. Well, this is an episode for you. Very limited musings.
Yeah,
listen,
right.
I would 2026 probably not your year for this show then when we have had no guests. So sorry.
Oh, we got lots of good guests coming.
We're just starting slow. A lot going on. But good. Glad. The good news is we typically do one episode with a guest and one episode with musings, so you can just skip those episodes and you'll be just fine. Next one.
Oh, hey, that's my cue. I don't have it up. Hang on. Sorry, Lisa. I forgot to pull up the Google Doc.
In our 8th year, we're going to get this down.
A must listen for anyone thinking about professional aviation. This one is now at the top of my weekly podcast, and I'm a co-host of a different aviation podcast, currently in the search for a flying job as a career, a 2.0er. Great discussions every week about a wide variety of topics and great guests. Episode 193 with James O'Neill cinched up the deal for me to sign up for their concierge program. Thanks for the great pod from Ben S.
Boom. Thanks for writing in, Ben. Final one comes in from YouTube. And this is in regards, I guess, the Khaleesi put a reel together of that story we read, the email from the pilot who had to go back for an emergency bathroom visit. You remember that email?
Oh, yeah.
This person wrote in
Yeah.
on the clip, said, my 11-year-old pissed herself laughing at this story on her way home from school. So it's like, okay, I guess. Is that good? Interesting use of words there for that topic.
Yeah.
Thank you for letting us know, Christopher. All right, that's going to do it for the comments and reviews. If you'd like to leave us a comment, you can do that on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you consume the show. Shoot us an email, info@215podcast.com, and we'll get you some stickers as a thank you for the review. You do have to send us your real physical mailing address to do that. On to the mailbag, which is, of course, brought to you by Advanced Air Crew Academy, Max. No Reggie tonight, so you're going to have to take this one on.
All right. This episode is brought to you by Advanced Air Crew Academy, training built for crews who already know the difference between book smart and line smart. Advanced Aircrew Academy delivers online courses that actually reflect real-world operations, clear explanations, practical scenarios, and content that respects your experience instead of talking down to it. No fluff, no filler, just the stuff that keeps you sharp and compliant. For flight department managers, their platform makes life easier with simple tracking, instant documentation, and zero guesswork when the audit time rolls around. If you want professional training that fits into a professional schedule, check out Airline Advanced Aircrew Academy. Smart training for the flight deck.
Email number 1. Here's a not advice flight advice for you. I already know the outcome, but you guys always talk about how you give a perspective and then have to wait for someone to tell you how it went. Well, I've already ran the path here, but it was a series of tough choices. I will share with you the 3 decision points that I had to go through, and I will also share the outcome, but not right away. So I am flying freight on a wide body working with an expired contract and below industry wages. Currently have a good number on the FO side. Home life in check, no worries with the commute. Upgrade most likely within the next 12 months. Have interviewed with a major, but the deadline to hear a yes-no has gone over by a considerable amount of time. Reached out to the company and was told to hang tight. Another cargo company that I have been talking to offers class dates 2.5 weeks out. Pay goes to industry standard, everything else pretty much the same, but no short upgrade. What say you? Do I keep a good seniority number and hang tight in comfort? The opportunity to get picked up by a major is a huge long-term goal and has been a road 15 plus years long. The market does seem to be opening up, so maybe more opportunities ahead. Or do I take the opportunity to bring up my pay to industry standard and also meet my financial long-term goals with the new cargo company? This position would hopefully be the last move and I could stay established at the cargo company. It would effectively cancel my shot at a major. So option 1 stays.
Well, given our recent episode with James O'Neill and what the numbers are looking like for 26, I say stay put. And if that's his long-term goal, 15 plus years long, he's been working towards this, dude, stay where you're at and take the upgrade and get the PIC time, which is going to make you even more competitive, along with the hiring picking up. So those 2 things are going to have to make ends meet and get you to where you want to go.
I 100% agree. It doesn't mean he talks about, well, I get up to industry standard wage. Yeah, but you're going to be making, if you stay where you're at, you're going to upgrade soon, and that's going to be significantly more money. And you said you couldn't upgrade. Yeah,
then starting as an FO,
so if you're worried about the wage, it feels like you're in a pretty good spot right now. And the email to me comes across pretty clearly that you want to go work for a major. So I would focus my energy on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you would be selling yourself short if you,
like we said, the thing, I don't like making a lateral move just for money. When in a seniority based system, that worries me.
Well, if it's a short term, play, it doesn't make sense. If it's a long term, I mean, if, that's what you want to do, and you're just not getting paid at one place.
Yeah, exactly. Next email.
NBAA SOPs, great episode. I downloaded the manual and forwarded it to all my fellow crew members. You're where I heard it first. You guys are having an impressive impact on the industry. Keep up the great work. P.S. All those AI raps are unreal. We'll all be obsolete someday. Ron.
I'm already there.
Yeah,
have you figured out how to get AI to spread the rock in your backyard yet?
No, we're not close to that yet.
Not close yet. Next episode. Next email. Hey guys, just was out for a walk and decided to go over some previous episodes. Heard Dr. Broyhill talk about the aborts on episode 190. One thing I've never done in the sim is a large bird strike at V1. Not sure how they would do it in the sim, but it just happened to me last week in a large business jet. I'm learning that it's more common than just the usual engine failure. Our windscreen filled with large birds as I'm rotating and literally waiting for something bad to happen. Then the airplane lurched to the right and came back to the center. Engines were good and the airplane was flying fine, but then we got the KFC smell. Ooh. That's when the adrenaline kicks in as you start to think about returning to origin with the boss on board. And is the airplane okay, and for how long? I love how Dr. Broyhill talks about slowing things down. I actually said to the SIC, hold on, we're not ready yet, and got delay vectors, mostly because my Apple Watch was alerting me to my high heart rate, but also that tower was about to open, and it would be great to have some witnesses with the red phone watching the landing. There are questions that I was thinking about that I don't usually have to discuss in the sim. Possible controllability issue? Should I have left the gear down due to possible damage? Flaps, too? Anyone available to inspect for parts on the runway? Discussing return options with the boss? Just some variables in the heat of battle that we don't usually train for. Best podcast ever, and that's for staying anonymous for now. It's a really good perspective.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, there's a lot. Well, and also there's going to be all those additional things too with passengers in the back and things. Even just with the same engine failure of V1 we've gotten a million times if that happened in real life. But yeah, that's why it's good to train, mix it up a little bit. You know.
Absolutely. That is one thing I would say on the BizAv side. We're typically more the flying the airplane stuff in the sim, and there's not really an emphasis on the passenger communication elements of it. And, there's only so many things you can do in the sim. And so I get it, but it is one of those added things that you've got to communicate. And that can be really tough, especially when they're, only a few feet behind you. They're probably going to be up in your business going like, hey, what's going on here? Do you got, I feel like Southwest, when you guys are doing sim, there's a little bit more of that passenger communication stuff.
Oh yeah, no. Well, no. All of this
in the
stuff
sim?
now is so scenario based.
Yeah.
Like the whole and the thing is, when something happens in real life, now everybody says, "I feel like we're in the sim." Because it is very like they do throw realistic. Like, dude, one of our events for last year, we never even took off.
Oh yeah, you mentioned
we pushed, taxied around, had to work with called maintenance, trying to MEL something, and then, we didn't have enough fuel. And then like in business aviation, like, oh, if you go, oh yeah, we don't have enough fuel, they've been like, oh, hold on here, let me get Bob the fuel man over, and they bump the fuel up another couple thousand pounds, and you're good to go. But and they don't do that, and you taxi back to the gate, and that was the whole event. So super scenario based, which I think is obviously a much better way to do it. Because every year it is different, like that 100% different, right? And some years you may not even do a V1 cut or an engine,
Right.
They don't do everything every year. Like, you don't really need to after a while, right? Like, how many times have we done some of those things? So,
well, yeah, I mean, it's definitely the scenario based stuff that I think is where things are headed. And that,
yeah. And obviously I think that the business aviation training is going to go that direction ultimately. Like that, it just seems like it kind of lags behind how the 121 with the NBAA SOP thing is case in point, right?
Yeah, we're getting there, but
we're getting there.
Time. Give us some time. Okay.
Dylan Max, longtime listener, but first time writer. I've connected with you guys because I was an American Eagle hire close to you guys. October of 2004, I believe. Dylan, you mentioned how complicated the Saab was, and I couldn't agree more. AC Wild, Y and Z buses only identified by a tiny gauge hidden behind the power levers. What a mess. Slant Alpha or NDB approach with a check ride into Waco or College Station if President Bush was at the ranch. And Kevin Cope, who was a check airman, yelling in your ear the day before Thanksgiving. Not my idea of fun. I'm sure this is all burnt into your brain as well. After the Saab 340 and DFW, I eventually went to the EMB 145 Chicago. Yeah, until the 9-year upgrade was imminent. I had to bolt to corporate and never look back. I pounded on every couple of weeks in Scottsdale, now dropping the CEO off at the house, and I think of you guys when I'm there. You guys help me pass time when I'm at the FBO. Keep up the good work, fellas. That's from Nick. That's funny.
I like it, Nick. Thank you.
God, just getting old, dude. That was over 20 years ago.
I know. Isn't that
Don't you remember when like people would talk about something that happened 20 years ago, and you're like, bro, 20 years ago? Like, how do you even remember stuff that long ago?
Well, we were just talking about this with our kids like 2 days ago. I have now been with my wife for 20 years. And I was just like, how is that? I'm only 25, so how's that possible? I still feel like a
You
young
wish.
man.
You wish.
The kids are like, whatever. And yeah, geez, that guy was hired in 2004. Oh, and then it'll be my 20-year anniversary of being hired at American Eagle this year too. Go Eagles.
Congratulations. I hope you get a plaque or something.
All right. That is going to do it for the mailbag. Thanks to everyone who wrote in. info@215podcast.com is the email address. If you would like to join the conversation and possibly share your hire date at a regional airline, we would love to take a trip down memory lane with you. Up next, a real interesting flight advice, Max. I think you're going to enjoy this one, get some perspective. I'm hoping to maybe get a guest contribution. Let's see.
Let's go.
Let's do it.
Careers in the climb and the journey ain't straight. From regionals to fractionals, it's never too late. Maybe you burned out, maybe just lost sight. We'll help you level off and set that glide right. We've seen busted check rides, busted hearts too, but it's all pilot life and we've been there, dude. So tune in, drop a line, let's clear the ice. We'll keep it real. Welcome to Flight Advice. Harvey Watt got your back when you're down for the count. Life, health, disability, that's what they're about. From medicals to claims, they'll set you right. Keeping pilots protected day and night. So ride in your story, don't think twice. We got your 6. It's Flight Advice.
All right, here it is. Max says, hello. This could be a loaded question and possibly a full episode depending on how easy the question is to answer. My husband is considering a career change to hopefully become a commercial airline pilot in the future. I support this career change, but I want to get an idea on what my life would look like and what other wives/spouses' lives look like. I've researched and listened to other pilot spouses' experiences, and they say to stay flexible, but I am wondering what this could mean. I currently have a full-time, stable job where I make half of our income, and I don't know if I should leave my job or not with a career change when the time comes. We currently have one child and plan to have at least one more. Do most spouses become stay-at-home? Do many keep their job? I have a few conflicting thoughts where I am in full support of leaving my job and moving to where my husband would be based. But what if he is furloughed in the future? Once our children are school-aged, I would feel guilty about not having a career, but then I would also want to spend the days he is home with him instead of only seeing him after my 9-to-5 job. I know as a first officer, he would most likely not be based close to where we live, and since we have small children near family and I have my job to hold on to, since you also say pay at first isn't great, and I would still like to rely on my income. It might be best for him to commute, but I care about our quality of life as well. Do you recommend moving for his first job or commuting for the first year until things are more stable? This is a few years in the future, but I am trying to hear what the spouses do to just get an idea of what they have done for a career, or if they left their career indefinitely. Thank you for taking this time to read this. I really enjoyed learning about this industry through your podcast, and that's from Marie.
I think that's the first spousal email we've gotten.
Yeah, one of them at least.
A lot there.
Yeah, quickly answer this one, Max.
Okay.
This should only take a minute.
Let's just break this down real quick. No, so those are really good questions, and and I think it's very smart to be having some foresight and trying to kind of figure out a plan.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's going to be a few years down the road, but as far as there are a lot of pilots that I know at the airline and in business aviation whose spouses work and who have spouses that don't work. And that is when they have kids, and a lot of them even when they don't have kids anymore, that there's stay-at-home wives and things like that. My spouse works, Dylan's does, and it's not without complication, of course, right? Because when you don't have a job, you're ultimately flexible, and being, like you said, a pilot spouse requires a lot of flexibility a lot of times because the schedule, airline or business aviation is a lot of times is very difficult to control, especially in the airline scenario when you're not very senior. So you could be working 9 to 5 and then he could be going to work Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and that is tough. Like, I've done that, you've done that, like you've been there too, and that's a tough gig. But the good news is most of the time, especially from an airline perspective, that's temporary. Things get better. So it only goes up in seniority from a quality of life and money standpoint. It's the good news. So typically, it's not going to be as bad as it is right now. Is a phrase I've used more than once.
This is the worst it will ever be.
Yeah, and then the other thing too about having familial support when you have small children and you have a spouse who's a pilot and is gone regularly and you have a job too, I can't think about a time that is more important.
No, yeah.
Right? So leaving that is huge. And as opposed as I am to commuting because of the quality of life effect it has, boy, be in some city where you don't know anybody, by yourself, half the week when you're still working full time and taking care of kids by yourself, that's also a very, very tall hill to climb. So that being said, there are a lot of great things having a pilot as a spouse too, right? Like, I don't see very many dads in the pickup line at school.
Yeah.
Do you? Or at the bus stop? There's just a lot of things that you get to do as somebody who's home more than just on Saturday and Sunday not working. That a lot of dads don't get the opportunity, traditional dads, I guess, or spouses or whatever, however you want to frame it, don't get to do. And just like I talked about early in this episode, today is Wednesday and my kid is off school kind of unexpectedly and I get to take advantage of it. I'm off all week. We're hanging out all week, doing all kinds of fun stuff and truly creating, memories that would be, I guess you could recreate some of it on the weekend, but not when you, like in my case, I have one kid who's off school where I typically have all the kids off school. So it's different, so there's some really good things there too. And when you're home, and you're working, like when your spouse is home, like they're home all day and they don't have to answer emails and like hop on this quick call or do any of that crap.
Yeah,
like
there's no deadlines. There's
be fully present. Yeah. So there's a lot of good that goes with it. But I think you're smart to evaluate it. I would avoid commuting if you could, but like you said, having it is really nice in a volatile industry to have a spouse with a diversified source of income for everybody involved. Cause it can be very stressful. Like when things turn south in this business, and you're the sole source. So, the diversity is good. I don't know. What do you have?
Yeah. I mean, it's tough. I don't disagree with anything you said. It's tough because it sounds like you have a pretty good grasp on sort of the path there, but depending on the age of, you said this is a career 2.0 move. So, how old your spouse is going to be, they could potentially be, starting at a new regional airline at some point, then getting upgraded to captain and then having to change bases. And then, but now I've got an opportunity to interview at a major airline. And so there could be quite a few moves before they get to, kind of like the career, the last job of their career, like at a major airline. And so I would echo what Max said about if you've got family around that can help you with the kids, like it's not like you would just have one move to consider. There could be multiple moves if you always want to live where your spouse is going to be based. So I kind of would lean towards maybe waiting those first couple years because there could be uncertainty there of like, now I can hold a line in this other base, so I'm going to go there. Now I can, hold captain, so I got to go back. So it would just be like that. You could really sign yourself up for the multiple moves. I think it's smart to consider like the commute could be the more realistic option, assuming you live in a fairly big city and not like a very small city where it could be like, multiple flights to commute to somewhere. So it's kind of dependent on where you live.
Well, the other thing too is that's only from the airline perspective.
Yeah.
Again, there's a lot of other options out there.
Yep.
And if it's going to be a really tough commute or you don't want to commute at all, get a job as a corporate pilot in the town you live in. Go work at NetJets or FlexJet or wherever, where you can have the choice of a lot more bases than you do at the airline. So there's a lot of other options that are there, and but thinking about it now is smart, because I think a lot of people have just said, "Oh, this is the job, I got to get it, and then we'll figure everything else out." And I think sometimes with some foresight, like you have, it can make the bumps in the road a lot smaller.
Yeah, and look, the bottom line is there are going to be bumps in the road. This industry is very cyclical. Things are good, and then they're bad, and then everybody's hiring, and then nobody's hiring, and then I'm gonna be flying this airplane. Oh, never mind, they closed this base. Oh, there's so much change that almost the plans that you make you have to be flexible and willing to pivot on what you expected was going to happen, and then and you got to roll with it. And I would say, to be the spouse, really, it's very the last thing I'll leave you with is very challenging, because I think that the non-pilot spouse has to make a lot of sacrifices typically. There is a lot of things that, I know that my wife and your wife, they have to sacrifice. Oh, we got invited to this dinner party. Can you go? I don't know yet. Well, when are you going to know? I don't know. When I'm, do you have it off? Like, can you be there?
Dude, or the other thing is, like, when stuff happens, like, as they say, the shit always rolls downhill. And guess who's standing at the bottom of the hill all the time?
The person at home
spouse.
with
like,
the kids.
Something, this is going to happen, but I'm out of town. Like, there's a lot of times there's nothing you can do.
Yep.
Like, oh, well, I have a meeting. Well, yeah, but the kids have to be picked up, and you're the only one home. So can you just figure it out somehow?
Yeah.
And that's where having the parents, the support.
Yep.
Because being the absentee parent sometimes, which is the reality of the matter.
It sure
is very hard on the other spouse.
And
I mean, I'm sure we could get our wives in here and we could keep this going for quite some time.
Well, and I was going to mention, that's the other thing is, if you're the type of person that can be independent and thrive on that, and like, oh, the washing machine's broken, I'm going to figure this out, or I'm going to figure out who to call, or those are realities, and for some folks they thrive on that, and some people really don't like that.
Yeah, well, if you're not that person, you're
gonna be that person. So that's
those things only break when you're out of town. The big problems only happen when you're gone. It sucks, and like, I'm so thankful my wife's dad lives 17 minutes up the road.
Yeah,
like, having that it's a whole different kind of stress when the world's falling apart at home and you
can't do anything about it,
and there's nothing you can do about it. It's just like watching.
There's a water leak. Okay, like, let's FaceTime.
Okay. Oh, here, put me on FaceTime. Let's try and go out to the breaker panel and reset this. It's just it's a lot sometimes, but
it really is. So but on the flip side, as you said, there's a lot of very rewarding things. Look, once you kind of get established in the career, you're probably looking at flying 12 to 15 days a month, so you're going to be home usually more than half the month. You can usually take pretty significant vacations. It's pretty easy to have a lot of time off. I don't know. What do you think? Like, the average airline pilot's got to have, with the little seniority, is probably at least can get a month off without working too hard.
Well,
3 weeks is
depends on the month.
I guess it depends.
You want to get January off? No problem.
But I mean,
you want to bang out a couple of weeks of vacation? I mean,
it's pretty easy to get like I shouldn't say like a month in a row, but I'm just saying
a month. I wouldn't say,
but you could easily get 4 or 6 weeks off. Yeah, it's a lot.
Not in a row.
Not in a row. No, I'm not saying in a row. I'm
just saying, to stack your vacation.
Yeah. But
it's a lot of time off.
Tons of time off.
The time away is rewarded sometimes with long stretches of time off.
So that's it. And look, the other flip side too, if you keep working your job, it's gonna be a lot of time when you're waking up to go to work and your spouse is just going to be laying in bed chilling. And that could be a point of friction too, like the person, when you're living the 9-to-5 life and the other person's living the pilot schedule, that it could be tough too.
Yeah, and from the pilot standpoint, man, I think it is very important to be empathetic. You have to have empathy, and it's, dude, the worst is the corporate, the good corporate gigs where people are traveling for fun and you're sitting on the beach in Turks and Caicos and all hell's breaking loose and your kids are running around and you're just like, oh yeah, we're just, it's pretty boring.
It's FBO on standby.
I gotta go though. I can go scuba diving, so I'll call you.
The dive master says no cell service here after the. Yeah,
those are the tough ones. But
and listen, Marie, we did an entire episode on this. It was many years ago. It's still one of our most popular episodes of all time. It's episode number 71, way back in 2022. Exactly 4 years ago.
We might need to do a wives roundtable. We can't get all these guests lined up right now, and we got.
I know, absolutely.
Some that have a lot to say. I think.
Absolutely agree. So, in that episode, my wife was on. She did a segment. Your wife did a segment. We talked to Jackie Ulmer, who she had a whole thing called the Pilot Wife Podcast. I'm not sure if that's still around, but you could look that one up. We talked to our friend Elethea, and she's a full-time pilot, and her husband stays home with the kids, so we got the perspective there. And then we also talked to Anna, who was a military wife and then had to go through the whole transition of being a military wife to her husband being an airline pilot, so that whole transition as well. So way back in episode 71, it's a 3-hour episode, but we cover a lot of different segments and what it's like to be married to a pilot. So hopefully that episode will give you a little bit more info as well. But it's exciting, man. It's funny because, Max, we get so many Career 2.0 emails from people saying they're going to switch their careers, but we never really think about the flip side of this, which is the spouse. And especially, can you imagine, it's one thing, when I met Lindsay, I was already a pilot. That was kind of part of the deal, right? And so she kind of knew what the plan was. But can you imagine doing something else for 20 years?
Like a 9-to-5 Monday through Friday deal, and all of a sudden it's all right.
And then you're because that lifestyle is so drastically different. I can't imagine just sort of rolling with it. That's hats off to the Career 2.0 pilot.
Definitely would have to have buy-in
that can make it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Got to have buy-in from everybody. So great email. Thanks for writing in, Marie. Keep us posted on how it goes. All right. Well, that is going to do it for another episode of the 21.5 show. Minimal musing here in episode. I'm actually not sure what number.
Listen, some people like the musing, some people don't. Like I said, I don't care. If you don't like it, tell me. I'll shut up. It's
fine.
It's all good.
Thanks to all of our sponsors who make this show possible. Timothy P. Pope, the Advanced Aircrew Academy, Harvey Watt, Veris Jet Sales, Air Comp Calculator, and our Sherpa, James O'Neill. We will be back with another episode soon. Like we mentioned, we're going on vacation.
Going to tackle somebody has to ski the powder in Japan in January.
To go around the world to find snow.
We would do it.
If you know Max's previous ski trip, Max only goes on the extremes of ski trips here. It's either zero snow or do we know? Has anyone examined any of the Japanese ski patrol labor contracts? Do we know? Is there anyone in a cooling off period right now?
You would think.
Quickly ask Gemini here with the National Mediation Board.
Good. I don't even want to. We're good, baby. It's snowing.
It's going to be a railway strike.
Lifts are open. Everything's falling into place.
It's going to be a railway strike there. Japan East.
United Flight has 170 open seats. It's low season. What could go wrong?
All right. Well, that's it. Until next episode, remember,
flexibility is the key to air power.
And being married to a pilot.
Very much so. See you next time.
Yeah. Yeah. Late night mic check, bedroom studio glow. No guest in the seat, but the vibe still rolls. Corrections on deck, we own every miss. New airports pop up, yeah, we fact check this. Cub life ripping Lake Pleasant low. Oil change done, then he let it go. BLM strip, campers frozen time. Shirtless dude with coffee watching aviation crime. Kids off school, Barrett Jackson jam. Midweek freedom, pilot life plan. JSX ATR dropping into town. Configure the 80 right over Max's house now. 777 Dream 787 on the list. Jump seat, lawn chair, sob scars persist.
ForeFlight talk, airplane manager zoom tight. Taxi charts glowing like a video game night. Private equity rumors got the forms lit. Yeah, hope innovation don't take a hit.
AI creeping into flight log math. Fuel burns average, future fast. Mailbag heavy, careers on the line. Stay put for the major. Yeah, timing is king. Bird strike V1, KFC in the air. Slow it down, breathe. CRM repair. Then the real talk hits. Pilot spouse view, flexibility tax when life comes through. Commute to move, kids, job support. Sacrifice unseen in every report. But when you're home, you're really home. Midweek memories most don't own.
It's the frequency pilots tune in and vibe. Yeah, 21.5 where the pros come alive. Ooh, checklist, jet fuel and stories that fly. Yeah, it's the cockpit crew, now let's take a sky high. Ooh.
The statements made in this show are our own opinions and do not reflect, nor were they under any direction from any of our employers.